Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Out of the Spirit Box. I am here with Avani and Vale. And today we are talking about killer ghosts. So, I slept through my research period, but I did find an interesting topic that I did want to talk about. And even though I know nothing about the story that I found, I do want to bring it up after I hear what you guys have found. So, Vale, you sound prepared.
Oh, I get to go first?
I
All right.
was blatant about where my research took me.
Yo! Because mine isn't a story, but like a news report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, okay. Let's see what I got here. Damn, I wrote an intro and everything.
Wow, you should have done that.
I was like, if we're talking about spirits that kill, there's actually supposedly different occurrences of killings. Like being led to your death, or causing an accident that leads to a death, or being scared to death. That's a super common one, where you actually like have a heart attack and die, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you just had a heart attack.
Yeah.
But it led to a death. But this one is actually a type of spirit. It's called an old hag. There's old hags in Celtic lore, there's old hags in just all types of European, Middle East, Asian. But this old hag comes from the Hum culture, which is a cultural group that left China, Vietnam, and Laos. They're not like a country, they're a group of people.
Okay.
In 2018, they were displaced because of a crisis in, I think, China at this time. And part of the Hmong tradition is to revere spirits, give them offerings, to invoke your ancestors' good faith, and your ancestors keep away things that might come to harm you.
Kind of like
Since they were no longer in their homes, they were no longer giving the offerings to their ancestors. I'm gonna keep going, like... And that's where the spirit of the Dobswang comes from. A spirit that isn't fended off by your ancestors, that comes in at you. So, the Dobswang comes to you in the middle of the night and sits on your chest and takes the spirit out of you. So, in 2018... No, it actually started in 1977. Dozens of Hmong people were dying of unknown causes. And they were doing autopsies and they couldn't find out what it was. And the cultural leaders were saying it's because of the Dobswang. She was coming to them in the night and killing them.
You know what's interesting is I feel like I heard a similar story about like mysterious deaths, and one of the theories being like a paranormal instance. But I definitely didn't read it in as much detail as you have. You're coming here with facts and historical, religious and like...
I'm coming with facts.
Yeah.
You said research and I said, alright.
So,
Yeah.
the way I ended up on the path I ended up with is really the only thing I could find was something similar to that, where people would claim like a spirit would come to them at night, but it kept getting related back to sleep paralysis.
Yeah, that's the big thing about any like ghosts found in the middle of sleeping, or hauntings from the middle of sleeping, is it always goes back to sleep paralysis. And it's like, well, I don't think we don't have a full understanding of sleep paralysis yet, so that ends up being a dead end.
Like, I chose this one because, like, there were stories of people who fended her off in the middle of the night, and they all kind of had the same account. of the people who lived,
Okay.
where she would actually come and sit on their chest, and she looked like an old, haggard, decrepit woman. And that's where they actually, like, knew what she looked like. They were like, this is the old hag, and this is the South Swung.
What would you all do if you woke up in the middle of the night and found an old bitch sitting on your chest?
I would say, this is my time, take me.
Yeah.
Like, what else do you do?
I really bad anger management issues. I'm gonna start swinging on that bitch. You kidding me?
Like,
She's catching hands.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't know where I would go with that. Like,
I think I would shit myself.
well, yeah, like
I
straight up heart attack
once
dead
saw
gone.
something sitting on the corner of my brother's bed, and I came in just punching.
Yeah.
There's nothing there, but like I wasn't gonna take the risk. If there was actually someone there, they were gonna get hit.
You know, funny story about that. I almost punched Jack one time when I rounded the corner and didn't expect him there.
Okay, so you're gonna punch the old hag. Vale's gonna punch the old hag, and I'm gonna stare at it like this can't be fucking real.
You're like, I guess I die now. I guess this was my moment.
My reaction to shock is either literal shock, where I'm just like, I'm gonna sit here until I understand what's happening, or let me go do something and come back and see if this is still an issue.
So yours is flight or freeze. Mine is fight or freeze. And Vale is just straight fight.
Yeah.
I'm just like, give me a reason, bitch. Give me a reason.
Yeah, let me take out some of this anger.
Now, if my cat
Get this
looks
aggression
scared, you're dead.
If the babies are threatened. Yeah.
Don't fuck with my kids.
Don't fuck with the motherly instinct in us. No,
Me, on the other hand, I don't care.
No, did they say anything about her other than she looked like an old hag? Like, was it obviously a spirit to them, or did they also wake up going, who's this old bitch sitting on top of me?
They pretty much woke up. Since they already knew it because it's part of their culture, they knew who the old bitch was.
Oh, okay, so it was a widely known, like, this is...
It was like, yeah, it was already passed down. This is something that's happened for, like, thousands of years passed down in their culture.
Like, hey,
So when it popped up, like, before it was just like,
Yeah?
Yes.
Urban legend.
It was like, one of those things that they tell you to scare you.
Yes. Like,
It was just one of those legends, those little folklore legends they tell you to scare you, and they were like, yeah, whatever. And then a whole bunch of people started dying, and a few of them were actually surviving. And then they told their story, and they're like, oh yeah, she's fucking real. Like, the South Swung really came to me in the night and almost killed me.
do they ever, display, like, markings of any sort of physical markings that...
Yo, you're asking questions about something I didn't see.
No. I just wondered if you came across it.
I don't know, but I want to say that one of the guys, because the thing about the South Swung is that she mainly attacks men.
Okay.
There are very few cases of it attacking women.
Yeah, well, she knows that sitting on somebody's boobs is really unnecessarily uncomfortable, so, you know.
God forbid she, like, put weight on the nipple. That's a bad time.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
that's bad.
Everybody's had the pet walk across their nipple
Oh,
by
yeah.
the facial expressions.
Oh, yeah, no, I also... So, I think I came across a similar thing to what you came across, Avani, was, my story was about, it was actually based in London, I do know that there was some guy pretending to be a ghost to scare people for some reason.
I know the story.
I saw this story too.
Alright, so you guys probably know more about it than me, but
man.
I have vague memories of what I read, because this was a couple weeks ago, but it was like, somebody, like, got put in jail or something because of it, and it wasn't
Okay.
the guy.
So what happened was... So, there was a legend that this street was haunted, and everyone was all scared of it, and some
Right.
guy was like, I'm gonna capitalize on this. So he dressed up as a ghost and started scaring people in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
One night, he comes across a man with a gun, who got so scared, he shot the ghost. and killed the ghost.
Sounds like a
And
Vale
then they
reaction.
had a trial. That was a very mean reaction. They had a trial where he was like, I'm not guilty, I thought it was a ghost. And it was like, ghosts aren't real, it doesn't count. And they put him in jail.
Huh.
They were like, that's not a real defense.
It
that you thought it was a ghost.
Wasn't there something, and this could be a different story, about when the guy was buried in the graveyard, like, things kept happening to his grave, like, people kept defiling his grave.
Oh my goodness.
Because he just ran around fucking terrifying people.
I think that's a different one.
I'm mixing stuff up, okay.
Yeah.
I read a lot and then ended up on this whole other train.
Well, because what I ended up not finding was, like, I could not find in my limited research, I could not find a story that was like, yes, a ghost possibly killed this person. Like, it was always like, because they died of fear, because, you know, somebody else killed them, because blah 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 blah.
Well,
because
I mean,
they were led to be crazy, because an accident happened, because this.
Right, because
That's why I prefaced my whole fucking story with, there's different occurrences where people say a ghost has killed someone.
Think about the kind of energy it would take for a ghost to, like, fucking pick up a knife or sustain a strangulation for so long. Like, it's not probable to consider that a ghost would kill somebody in the way we imagine we as human beings would kill another human being.
Right.
Which is kind of how I ended up on this train of curses.
Right.
Because it's technically killing somebody from beyond the grave. And that's kind of where I ended up with the whole research.
Yeah. Well, and like, my thought process with it went to, like, so why, I mean, yes, we're afraid of the unknown, but if you're going in to investigate the unknown, why are so many people terrified of, like, more active hauntings? If you know what I mean? Like, I feel like knowing that it wouldn't be able to kill me would make me a little bit more secure.
Well, I think there's also this fear of what I don't know what it's capable of. I don't know if things like curses are real. I don't know if this is going to attach itself to me. And energy is really the most powerful side of this, I think.
Yeah.
And if you're surrounded by negative energy, you're always going to have negative shit going on.
The other thing about a ghost killing someone is, if a ghost were to kill someone, how would you prove that?
Yeah.
You never know if it really was. You don't know what they can do.
Yeah,
if a ghost actually killed someone, they'd be like, just like those stories. Oh, they died of heart attack or something.
Right.
Or
yeah.
It's like this guy, like, he fell down some stairs holding a knife and he died. Like, what if it was a ghost? You never know.
What if the ghost was holding the knife?
What if the ghost was like, You never know.
What was the ghost like, Vale? Excellent stabbing voice.
There's our very first ringtone.
Yeah. All the merch centered around that voice. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Like, do you think it's possible with what you know about ghosts, what you have experienced? How do you guys feel about that?
I think it could definitely scare you to death.
I think it could scare you to death.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I believe it can kill you, but that's just me. I don't know anything. I don't know everything about ghosts. I don't know anything about ghosts.
Yeah.
I know what happened to me.
Well, the other thing is, I'm sure you've all heard stories, you know, on the ghost hunting shows you might watch, or you know, just in general, the media around ghosts, of people being strangled and scratched and stuff like that, things being thrown at them. So, in my opinion, even though there are no stories that I found or news articles that I found that was like, it's unknown, so we only have the option of the ghost, I actually do think it's possible.
Yeah, because if they can scratch you, if they can throw stuff, why can't they do more?
Exactly. whether that's a ghost or you want to separate that from like demon or something like that, that's a whole different wheelhouse.
Paranormal categories.
The paranormal categories,
Right.
yes.
Well, and when you get into demon, I think possession's the more likely way that I could see you straight up saying a ghost killed somebody in that loose general term, because if you're possessed, you can be forced to do things that you wouldn't normally do.
What would
There
stop
was
a
a
ghost
story
from,
about that.
Oh, was
There
there?
was a story about that where a guy got possessed and he killed his landlord. The guy's name was Ernie. I don't remember what his last name was, but he claimed that he was possessed and that's why he killed the landlord. And it actually stemmed that his wife's little brother was possessed. He told the demon to leave the little boy and go to him. Then he got possessed.
Huh.
And he like started going crazy. He started doing weird shit. He started doing like really possessed people shit that led to the murder.
Oh, possessed people shit.
Possessed people shit.
Yeah. We should make a list of possessed people shit.
Well,
I mean, what's stopping a ghost from just like blowing up your heart if it's possessing you at that point? Like, you know, like what is the motivation? I guess the motivation behind possession is just having physical control over the world rather than just being able to manipulate it through energy.
I also think it has to do something with like torment. If you can cause the person to go insane, and you can just get this. I mean, it's like a demon-y trait.
Yeah.
To the enjoyment of the torment of the person you're possessing.
Yeah.
You want them to be as crazy as humanly possible. You don't want anyone to believe them. You want this shit to just be batshit insane.
Yeah. Batshit insane.
yeah, I think when it comes down to it, like I have more faith in being able to call something a ghost did it, a ghost caused the murder, a ghost caused the death, if we're talking about possession or straight fear.
Yeah.
Because there are things that you could probably see if you're predisposed to a heart condition or some shit that would literally scare you to death.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. My tired brain is not grasping on these ideas. They're like popping into. Dude, it's like I have like an idea flies by and my brain goes, "Oh, that's nice," and then this is it, just fine. But shit. Yeah, I already forgot it. It's gone.
So, would you guys consider it death by ghost if somebody possessed somebody and caused them to commit suicide?
I think
I'd count that as a ghost.
I
think
like I count that as not the person. I would count that as the situation, the ghost, causing them to just have this need to commit suicide.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like things that were done out of possessions, I think it would be like, I guess in a court of law, it would fall under the same idea as like pleading insanity, right? Like you're influenced by something else, whether it be insanity or a ghost. You're influenced by that thing, but you're still committing the act. So I don't know how I would look at like a situation where someone is claiming possession, and let's say, for the purpose of this conversation, it's proven they were possessed. I mean, in a court of law, they would probably be able to say I was insane and it would fall under that category. But I think I would still look at it as you did this act under the influence of the ghost, under the influence of that possession.
That sounds like a great sentence. You did this under the influence of a ghost. Just
a lawyer is going to add that to their closing argument one day.
I hope so.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you see the defendant here did this under the influence of a ghost.
So, Okay. I have two that kind of relate. One, only because we've jumped off into this court thing that I get reminded of it. There is this story about a woman who was found dead in her home. And by all accounts, it appeared as though she fell, tripped, whatever, hit her head on the fireplace mantle and was knocked unconscious in front of the fire and died.
Just from the head injury, or did she?
Yeah, from like a severe head injury.
Yeah.
So she died. They deem it an accident. This is a long, long time ago. They deem it an accident, and everything's kosher. And then her brother claims that she came. Oh yeah, because she was burned. She fell in front of the fire and she was burned.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. And she came to the brother and told him, like, look at me, look at my burns, look at, like, I'm dead, I'm burned, whatever. And so he flips this script and goes and tells the magistrate, what the fuck ever it was back then, my sister came to me as a ghost and her son murdered her. And they put the son in jail and convicted him of murder based on the testimony of the ghost.
What?
This subject. I also have a story of Teresita Basa, the ghost who solved her own crime. It's
Cool.
that same vein. I remember the lady's name and everything.
I wish I had that kind
Teresita
of memory.
Basa was found dead in her apartment building. And they didn't find who killed her, and her case went cold for a long time. This woman, who she had never even met, started seeing her ghost, and the ghost started possessing her, telling her things about the case. And she told her how she was killed, what time she was killed, how she has to catch the murderer, it was this guy specifically. And the woman was so scared that she was going insane. She didn't tell him. She told her husband, who was a doctor. But she didn't really go to the police, because how are you going to go to the police and be like, oh, a ghost came to me in the middle of the night, possessed me, and told me she was murdered.
Right.
So, one time the ghost possesses her and talks to her husband. The husband of the woman being possessed, not of the ghost. And she tells him, you have to go to the police. This is what happened. I'm not going to let you guys go until you guys go to the police and solve my crime. So they go to the police and give them the information that the supposed ghost had told them. And when they look into it, they find out who killed her from just the ghost telling them. They investigate the guy who the ghost said it was. They talked to the girlfriend of the guy, and they found out, oh wait, the guy killed her, stole her jewelry, gave her jewelry to the girlfriend. The girlfriend was like, oh, he just said it was a gift. They tracked it all back, and the ghost solved her own crime.
I have so many questions that
Yeah.
I'm 90% positive you don't have the answers to.
Do you know if the possessed woman was in any way related to?
No, she didn't know her. They worked in the same hospital, but they didn't work in the same wing. They weren't in the same... I think they were both nurses. But they didn't work anywhere near each other, and they didn't know each other.
Oh.
Did the guy who killed the woman, did he have a relation to the woman that was being possessed or to the woman that was killed?
Nope, he was a TV repairman.
Oh.
Was he ever called to the apartment to repair her TV?
Okay, so the guy I think was a janitor, but not in the hospital.
Okay.
And he went to the murdered lady's apartment to fix her TV. Which actually, I say he was a TV repairman, but that's a lie. He doesn't know how to fix a TV.
Yeah.
When they asked the girlfriend, oh, he came over to fix her TV, she's like, he doesn't know anything about electronics. He'd probably fry the house.
Oh. That didn't hold up.
But neither the doctor nor the nurse knew this guy at all. They didn't even know this guy's name until the ghost started telling them. It's this dude. And they're like, we don't even know who this dude is. We don't know how to track him down. We don't know where he lives.
So there's no 6 degrees of separation.
No.
That
was why this case was so interesting, because they had no way of knowing neither the murdered lady or the murderer.
And the lady who got possessed, like her and her husband never moved in the same apartment building or bought this.
They had their own little house because he was a doctor. He had good ass money.
I have so many questions.
And the murdered lady was living in an apartment building.
Huh.
And no,
That
like,
is really interesting.
object ended up from her apartment than theirs. Like, she didn't end up with her work water bottle or some shit.
Yeah, like, how did she...
The woman, when she was possessed, she's like, I don't even know why she chose me, of all people, to possess.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
gotta
I would-
be, like, a very distant connection somehow.
There has to be, but it was not in anything that
That's
was
incredible.
spoken, nothing that was written.
What if they're cousins, like, 100 times removed? Like...
Yeah, like, it's gotta be like we didn't go to the same church. We always shopped at the same grocery store on Sunday at 8 a.m.
What if... Yeah, what if she
I mean, they did
inherited
work
her
in the same
clipboard?
hospital, but a lot of people worked in that same hospital.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can work in a hospital and never meet 30,
Yeah.
40, 50% of the people that work there.
Yeah. Huh.
Even if she did in passing in such a way that they wouldn't remember each other,
I'm
that's
sure-
not enough of a connection.
And I'm sure she had close friends and family, so why not them? Interesting. And she was killed at home by the guy?
Yeah, she was killed in her home by the guy. The guy pretended that he was going to fix her TV. He went in there because he really needed money. He was just a normal robber.
Oh, so that was his motivation. He was just
His
robbing.
motivation to kill her was that he was going to rob the shit out of her.
Yeah.
He murdered her, stole all of her jewelry, all of her money, and just left, and they just never found him.
So wait, sorry, the true crime brain is happening now. Did she ever actually call a TV repairman?
No?
Did her TV need to be repaired?
Yes, her TV did not work.
So then, if she didn't call somebody to fix the TV, how did he just happen upon?
She knew. The murdered woman knew him.
Oh.
The
Okay,
murdered woman knew the murderer.
okay,
Well,
but it wasn't
Not
like...
well. Like I said, I think he was a janitor or something.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh,
okay.
you can fix it, right? And he's like, sure.
Okay, that's starting to make a little more sense.
So she's...
No, the murdered woman knew the murderer.
She
The
mentions to-
possessed woman didn't know either of the two.
So she mentions to him, hey, my TV's broken, do you happen to know how to fix it? And he's like, oh, this seems like a great opportunity to kill somebody for money.
Yeah, pretty
If
much.
this bitch can afford a TV, she must have other things that
Yeah,
are
right?
valuable.
It's like, well, I mean, if she had nice jewelry or anything, you know, I assume she wore it, so maybe that was enough, like, maybe she flaunted enough jewelry in front of him that he was like, I'm sure she has something valuable.
He's like, hey, those scrubs don't have blood on them. You must have plenty of scrubs. I think that's gotta be it. Because, like, it's just... Oh. I want all the details on this. Like,
She
all the
was
details.
A Filipino woman who moved to the United States who worked as a respiratory therapist. I really googled Teresita Basa and see what popped up. Who
No,
was
this is-
murdered in 1977.
Oh, she's pretty.
Yeah, you can just look her up.
Wait, what do I gotta search?
Teresita
Teresita
Basa.
Basa. This is how everyone's fucking looking up.
Found
Teresita Basa.
found naked, stabbed in the chest with a butcher knife, set alight and left under a burning mattress in her 15th floor apartment. Think about, okay, how fucking psycho are you
I didn't know
you
that much.
set them on fire in the 15th floor of an apartment building? Like, do you know how many people that guy could have killed?
Why is it on the unsolved mysteries wiki?
Because it was unsolved at a time.
I don't even remember where I had heard this story, but it definitely wasn't unsolved.
She is
Okay, the wife worked as a respiratory therapist at Edgewater Hospital.
It was the wife?
Yes, it says
Okay.
a surgeon, Jose Chua, is that right?
Yes.
Claimed that his wife Remy, who also worked as a respiratory they both did. Also worked as a respiratory
they did work
therapist
together.
at Edgewater Hospital, had been possessed on 3 occasions by Teresita Bassa. He said his wife was possessed. She appeared to be in a trance. Blah 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 blah. Bassa's native and was speaking in Bassa's native tongue, Tagalog,
What?
a language she was familiar with but rarely spoke.
So basically they're saying she was speaking it fluently when she didn't have the knowledge to do so.
She was familiar with the language, but she didn't speak it often.
Huh.
She told me she had nothing I had to be scared of. She was really pleading for me to help solve her murder. Kim claimed she'd been killed by a man called Alan Showery, who repaired her TV but then stabbed her and stole her jewelry.
I don't think he repaired her TV. I think that shit's still broken.
I bet that shit's still broken. I bet you that shit's still broken. It's like, why would you repair someone's TV just to murder them?
Yeah, he probably like jiggled a couple of wires.
It's
And
like,
"Alright, it's
okay.
time
fixed."
to murder. Oh man.
Showery was known to Chua and Bassa. He worked as a respiratory technician at the same hospital where both were respiratory therapists. Showery had been in a difficult situation and Bassa had been helping him out by paying him generously to do small jobs for her.
Oh, yeah. She knew him. She knew him and she was helping him.
The guy that murdered her.
Yeah, the guy that
Wow.
murdered her.
How ungrateful.
I think what we should do is this is incredibly interesting. I think we should read more about this case and then just do a whole episode on it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
My brain knows so many dumb stories. I was like, wait, I know this one, and I remember the name.
Did voice from grave finger murder suspect?
Can you?
It ended in a mistrial with a deadlocked jury.
What? Really?
Really?
A month later, while waiting for a new trial to begin, Showery suddenly changed his plea to guilty, and they sentenced him to 14 years for murder, robbery, and arson.
Supposedly, he said that Teresita was now coming to him when he was in prison.
Get him, bitch, get him.
And then he changed his plea from not guilty to guilty. And she stopped haunting the shit out of him.
Why did she even go through the middleman then? She could have just went straight to him.
According to Mystery Chicago, Showery's lawyers tried to suggest in court that Chua was the real killer, that she'd sold Showery the jewelry, which explained why Kalmick had it, and then come up with the possession idea after losing her job at the hospital. However, Seltzer and Chua adds was never truly considered a suspect.
It was like, oh, this lady did it. It wasn't me, it was her. Like, why would she know all these details if she wasn't a murderer?
Oh, Chuas wrote a book about it.
Really? Damn.
A Voice from the Grave.
Oh, I've heard of that book. No way. I didn't know it was this.
It was on Unsolved Mysteries in '96, turned into a telemovie. The movie's executive producer, blah, 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 said Chua's life returned to normal after the years following the murder and trial. There are no more psychic or paranormal events in her life. She's living a quiet life, hated the media glare from 78 to 79. That he was released from jail in 1983, just 6 years after Bassa's death.
Well, he didn't spend a lot of time in there at all. For murder.
You just murder someone and you're
For
like, okay, I got out
murder.
in 6 years.
Avani, do me a favor, copy and paste her name into our USP topics page.
Oop.
Four pillow, four
Oop,
top.
wrong one. Oosp.
USP.
Hey.
Yeah, we should totally.
I just didn't want to type the whole thing out.
No, that's fascinating. That is really fascinating. And, I love that our USP conversations here sometimes do turn into, like, true crime. Like, let's figure this out.
I love true crime.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. The amount of true crime I consume is unhealthy.
And I wish we all had met each other and started talking about this stuff, like, 10 years ago when I was, like, watching this shit all the time and listening to this shit all the time because I'm just too tired.
Girl,
these
do
days
you need me to like load up your what to watch list? Because I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching that show.
Right?
On Discovery, yeah. I love it. I've been watching it at work.
I'm obsessed. Kindred Spirits. On Discovery Plus.
She just picked up her phone.
So I did.
I am incredibly obsessed with this show. I cannot wait for you to get to the episode where they do the Proctor House in Salem.
I can't wait for that.
That was fucking freaky. And then they do one at Gettysburg that is bananas.
Did I tell you I went to a ghost hunting fun little, touristy thing in Gettysburg?
Yes, I immediately thought of you when they were talking about it. They were like, we're in Gettysburg. I was like, Heather needs to watch this.
Yeah, in the opening, he talks about how he started this prison experience in Gettysburg. And I was like,
yeah. Oh no.
What did you experience?
It has, and I think we should revisit our ghost hunting tools conversation because it has really altered a lot of my opinions because of the way they use the tools.
Oh, yeah. The Boo Buddy, I was like, oh, I love the way you guys are using it. Fantastic. Right. Vale needs to catch up.
Vale, I fucking watch it and crochet. I watch it and play Sims.
We started this Out of the Spirit Box stuff with our conversation on our opinions of equipment as it stood, and we slammed a lot of equipment because, there's a lot of things that can interrupt the readings you get on the equipment, but, they do use it really well. They use it in a, respond to me type way. Yeah. And get a response and then verify that response. And if they don't verify it, they're not immediately like, oh, it was a ghost.
But everything they do is also so deeply backed up by research.
Yeah.
And factual research, not just let me talk to the family. Like they're going and they are finding records and talking to historians and it makes it feel so much more credible.
Yeah. It goes against my scientific brain.
I was gonna say, so this is a ghost hunting show?
Yeah.
And okay. Because I always, every time I've ever seen a ghost hunting show, I'm like, yeah, this is straight bullshit.
Yeah. So it's not a ghost hunting show in the way of you think of the show I hate, Ghost Adventures, which is garbage and they treat people like crap.
Yeah.
And it's not. They actually both
absolute trash.
They both came from ghost hunters, but what they do now is they are actually called in by families having paranormal experiences who need help, and then they go to whatever location. Sometimes it's like an asylum or a hospital or whatever too. But they go to those locations and they talk to the people, and they're specifically trying to address and determine what the concerns are that they have, which I like, especially because they're backing it up with historical stuff. And honestly, most of the EVPs they show on TV, I don't trust at fucking all. But I have literally been sitting here not looking at the screen, just listening, and straight up heard that fucking EVP. Because they put the subtitles.
Yeah, they put the subtitles and you kind of fill in the blanks.
Right.
Lizard brain.
Right, because that's what we're engineered to do, is hear what we see. I literally, no fucking joke, I have heard those EVPs and been like, okay, I'm gonna call that one legit today. And some of them...
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
The episode, the one thing that always gets me is they could edit it to be whatever, but the episode I just watched, it was amazing because they got an EVP asking a ghost what their name was, and the ghost said Molly, and it turned out there was a woman named Molly who used to live on that land who obviously died, So that was mind-blowing in and of itself. I was like, oh, you didn't know this, and then you looked for a Molly in that location, like, historically, and you found one. That's fucking crazy. Like,
And that's kind of their formula.
yeah.
Is they go in semi-blind, just off of what the homeowners have told them, then do research, then go back in, and then they have this psychic.
Yeah, the psychic.
And he is incredible. Like, I so don't buy psychics because I grew up in the 90s when they were infomercials.
Yeah, where you just call 1-800 and I'll tell you your fucking
Right.
future.
And what most psychics do is they will ask leading questions.
Right.
Based off of observation or what you've already said and you don't realize you're saying it.
Right.
And then they pull you in and make you think blah, blah, blah. No. Homie's legit.
Homie's legit.
This is the first time I've seen a psychic and been like, yeah, okay, I buy that.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked up anything about him, so I'm not super sure.
Just keep going.
Just keep going, okay.
Just,
Yes.
oh my god. Because at the beginning of the show, I was kind of where you are too. And the further I got in, the more I was like, okay, this is what I want to see. This is what I'm looking for.
But it is good, wholesome entertainment. It's not Ghost Adventures, it's not Taps. It's definitely like its own little breed, and it's rare to find both entertaining and convincing ghost hunting type shows. So, you know.
I personally don't think I would ever go ghost hunting for the one reason that I feel like it would attach to me and I don't want to bring that shit home.
That's how I feel.
Yeah,
I don't know that it would, but I don't want to take that risk.
I don't want to take the risk. I like living comfortably with nothing happening anymore. I got 2 exorcisms and we're clean.
So
I don't want this shit.
I have a small portion of myself that still loves and appreciates the witchy, spiritualistic stuff. I would.
T-shirt number 2.
Spirit fingers.
Spirit fingers. Which is glitter trickling down.
Yes.
Like Salt Bay with spirit fingers.
It's gotta be purple and green. But fuck, what was I saying? God damn it. Oh, I used to be really into that. Like when I was, a teenager, my best friend used to identify as part of the Wiccan community. So I looked into that stuff and I started to get into that stuff. Obviously I grew out of that. I didn't really have a friend circle who was like that, and she eventually grew out of that as well and moved on. But I do still have an appreciation for it, and part of me does believe that there could be something to it, because why would so many people believe in that if there's not some sort of logical connection that led them to that theory? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I went ghost hunting in Gettysburg, that's the first time I've gone ghost hunting in my life, and I was like, you know what? They say they're professionals. They have the actual equipment. We'll be fine. And but we went to one of the witchy spiritually shops there, and you bet your ass I picked up protective crystals, fucking dried herbs to protect me. I slept with that shit under my pillow that night.
See me saging?
Yeah, I believe in sage. I swear to God, because my ex-friend, she moved into a house before she moved into mine. She moved into a house that had a lot of bad energy attached to it. Old people had passed in that house, and it was a very traumatic thing. And it felt awful every time I went there. And then she saged, and the next time, I didn't even know she saged. The next time I went there, it felt better. Not 100% better, but a lot better. And I felt like I could breathe, and she was like, oh yeah, I saged. And I was like, oh! like,
oh
it
shit.
works!
Ever since that one house I lived in that I told you about, I sleep with crystals by the bed.
Yeah, there's something there, and if I always gotta put the caveat of if, right? But if it works, like, why wouldn't I do that? You know what I mean? Just especially with your experiences, Bonnie, and yours, Vale. Like, I would be sleeping with some crystals and shit by my head too.
Smudge sticks in the kitchen and holy water by my bed.
Yup. Like,
That's like, we're fucking. Anytime something happens, I'm down for this shit.
yup. Who fucking knows? And honestly, like, at worst, it could be a placebo effect somehow.
And I
But
enjoy the placebo
fine.
effect.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
helps me, fucking, I'll take it. I'll
fine.
drink
I'll
sugar
take
water
it.
all day.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, wow, we got a little off topic there, didn't we?
Okay, so I have one that's semi-on and semi-off topic.
Alright, I'm here for it.
Alright, and it's the last one on the top of my mind. So, there's this story of a girl, Annalise.
Michelle?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in Germany.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. So,
Okay.
she went through 67 Catholic exorcisms.
Holy shit.
And ultimately, through the exorcism process and doing what the priest and her family deemed necessary to help dispel the demon from her, she died of malnutrition.
Was this a while ago?
1970s. She died in
this-
1976.
She
Oh,
died in
is-
1970s because,
Is this the woman that, like, wasn't eating or something because it was, like, her duty to take on this? There was, like, some sort of woman
well,
like-
like this one, they kept doing exorcisms.
Mhm.
And they were trying to like force her to eat, but she wouldn't eat. And then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna take you to the hospital." She's like, "If you take me to the hospital, I'll kill myself." So they're like, "Okay, we're gonna keep exercising you." They would do exorcism in a church while having mass and exercising her at the same time.
And
She was like, she would like eat rats, and they're like, "We just have to take her to the hospital." She was like, "If you take me to the hospital, I'm gonna fucking kill myself." She died anyway to take her to the goddamn hospital.
Yeah, like, what? You ate a rat. I don't think that's healthy.
she
I think you might have a
also,
disease.
if I remember correctly, she also was like literally throwing herself to her knees to pray so often that she like broke her knees and still was throwing herself to her knees to pray. Like they were sliced open and bleeding. And if you want to hear a really good like in-depth coverage of it, a YouTuber named Stephanie Harlow is where I first heard the story, and she does mad research. She's
Yeah.
so,
Did they play the
so
recording
good.
from the exorcism?
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah, that shit is fucked up.
It is. It really, really is. Like
Something I read about that is that some people who listen to that recording, their devices would start fucking up. And I was like, oh shit.
Did you listen to that recording?
Yes.
Did your device fuck up?
No.
No, but all of my shit is broken, so.
It was pre-broken, so.
Like, all of my electronics somehow fry. This house has bad energy. So, like, I can't even say it was because of that. I don't know, fucking, all my shit fried.
What behavior was she demonstrating that they thought she was possessed? Are we certain from what we know that it wasn't like a mental health thing? That was
So
like,
she
I'm
was
pretty sure it was mental
she
health.
was treated psychiatrically. June 1970, had a third seizure at this psychiatric hospital where she'd been staying, prescribed anticonvulsion drugs. So for a long time, she was treated with anticonvulsion drugs for many, many years.
And during the trial, they threw under the bus one of the doctors because one of the doctors who was treating her was like, "Yo, this girl needs a Jesuit."
Yeah, wasn't
Dude,
there a doctor that said, well, then you need to be exercised because I can't fucking
Yes.
help you?
Yes, one of the doctors was like, literally, the word he said was, "You need a Jesuit."
oh my goodness.
And he was like, "No, I was treating her the whole time. I didn't say that." He said that shit.
Yeah, well, it was the 70s. You could get away with that shit a little bit more. Wow, that's crazy. So, give me a rundown then, as somebody who has not heard this audio, like from what you guys heard from it, like, did you believe that she was possessed
Me? Personally?
from the
No.
exorcism audio?
I don't think she was.
No. I think she was severely ill, and
Yeah.
nobody had the treatment then to assist her, and her faith was a really big part of who she was. It was a huge part of her identity.
Yeah.
So I think that she was fairly young too. So I think she was deeply influenced by the people around her. But
Yeah.
also just had such severe schizophrenia, bipolar, whatever else it could have been. Stacked.
Like, ever since she was a small child, she wanted to be a nun. She was, like, really deeply religious.
That's very tragic. Very unfortunate. Yeah, I know
They would take her to the doctors, but since mental... Well, first of all, it was like, they didn't have very good, science in mental health at that time. So they were trying to treat her, it wouldn't work, and you know how, when it comes to mental health, it's not one size fits all.
Right. Yeah.
So they tried to treat her this time, they tried to treat her a different time, it still didn't really help, and she just went down a, just...
Yeah.
And she asked for the
Eventually they ran
exorcisms.
Yeah, she asked for the exorcisms.
The exorcisms were consensual.
All 67.
All of them.
Yeah,
Every
she asked
single
for them.
one.
She wanted them. She thought she had a demon in her, and it needed to get out.
Which, I mean, if you think about how some people describe schizophrenia,
Yeah.
that thought process makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
And they thought, or I don't know if it was her or the family, or I don't recall where the thought process came from, but they thought that she was destined to be like a saint. Like she was meant to be somebody who would acquire sainthood.
Yeah.
And in the Catholic religion, the theory is that if you are a saint, your body will not decompose. But they dug her up and she was decomposed because science is a thing.
Yeah. Right. Science is a thing.
Yeah,
Hey, let's check.
they tell you
The
that
whole story is just like people not realizing science is a thing.
it really is. And it's
Yeah.
tragic, but I mean, okay, even if she was really possessed, even if that was actually the problem and they just couldn't exorcise her after 67 attempts.
Right.
Maybe they needed to get to 69. Who knows?
That's
But
always the magic number.
But issue with, legit, her autopsy says she died as malnutrition and dehydration,
Yeah.
resulting from almost a year in a state of near starvation while the exorcisms were performed. She weighed 66 pounds.
And how old was she?
She was, 23.
Whoa.
She weighed 66 pounds, suffered broken knees from continuous genuflections, was unable to move without assistance, and was reported to have contracted pneumonia.
I'm surprised she lasted that long. Honestly. Getting
One of
down
those
to
things
66
where, like, they needed to force her to go to that hospital. I don't know how anyone was like, she says she doesn't want to. Fucking, I
Right.
don't care.
I don't know how at 66 pounds and obviously malnourished, but near dehydrated, they couldn't physically force her.
Right.
Like, she was dying. Just
scoop her up.
physically. And there's, 2 priests and your mom and your dad, and I think she had brothers.
Yeah, his brothers.
And, yeah, everybody
Because
take
her
a
brothers
limb.
to this day are
Let's
like,
go.
yeah, she was really possessed. I
Well,
believe
and I
it
think-
wholeheartedly.
I will never shit on people's need for religion,
No.
but I will criticize certain things, and this is one of the things I do feel needs to be criticized is at some point your faith can only go so far, and you need science, you need the health care, you need the mental health care to help you.
Right? I'll be honest, I'm semi-Catholic.
Mhm.
But I don't believe in, like, a lot of the bullshit that these people just
Right.
Like, you have to think for yourself.
Yes.
You have
No.
to use the science we have. We have science that was given to us. Use
In
this science and
conjunction-
stop being a moron.
Yeah. You can appreciate. You can fill the unknown for now. That's fine. You
Like,
fill the
if
unknown
you
with
really,
what-
really need it, these exorcisms, go to the
Right.
hospital and do the exorcism right there.
Right.
Put an IV in her arm, keep doing the exorcism. She'll be just fine. I'm sure.
And who knows? Who knows? Like maybe one day I'll have an experience that leads me to religion, and I'll have some sort of belief in that myself. Like that's the thing. Like it's unknown, and I don't care if you fill that unknown with a belief, but don't completely shirk the science that we have.
It's
Well-
unknown, and I feel like it's more of a comfort
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
People have all their different religions, and it's a comfort thing. Everyone believes their own shit, and it makes them feel
Right.
better. If it makes you feel better, go ahead.
Right. go
On
for
you.
it.
But, don't take it to such a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and part of her story. Hold on, I lost it. Okay, yeah. During the exorcism, part of her story is that like they would ask these questions during the exorcism of the demon and not get answers, and then they would come back like the next exorcism and ask the questions and get answers directly and specifically to the questions, because their whole thought process is we're drawing the demon out, which is why we're finally getting answers. No, my homie, she just needed to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the exorcisms that was recorded, they ask, who is possessing her? And she's like, Hitler and Judas, and
Yeah.
like, wow, really?
Those are pretty
You
big
just-
names.
Yeah,
Big names there.
yeah, and if you think about the deep education she had in religion,
Yeah.
it would be very easy for her on the spot in reaction to a question to answer. And that's why I don't think in any way she was actually possessed. Although, if you need to know this, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Requiem, Annalise, the Exorcist tapes are all based on this story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But it's not, like, there's no way. I think she's schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also believe she's schizophrenic. And I also believe that those tapes, when people listen to them, they get a little bit of mass hysteria going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Because
it's
like for real,
German.
people were like, "Oh yes, this is actually like this thing happened after listening to these tapes."
Right.
Like, it's a girl whose throat is destroyed,
Yeah.
who's yelling in a raspy German. It sounds real nasty.
And then they would claim that they knew she was possessed because she would sometimes speak in Latin. Well, she was fluent in Latin.
Oh.
Like she took Latin class. It's fucking
Like
Oh,
there's no if I started speaking Latin, be concerned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? But this girl has a deep religious background, studied it, knows it, is fucking fluent, knows that Bible inside and out, like reads it for pleasure.
Yeah.
And you can't just sit there and say, "Oh yeah, bitch is possessed," when science explains it.
Yeah. She's just reciting words from the last book she read in Latin. Like, oh, this is the last
She
paragraph. No, it's a demon.
She could read
and
you
she
the
could have been
whole
reading
thing.
Dr. Seuss in Latin, and no one would have noticed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's. I mean, she technically, like, you could argue, she technically died by a demon. Because she died in the process of trying to get rid of a demon she deeply believes is there. But she
The
didn't
demon
die
of
by a
mental health.
demon. Yeah, she
Yeah.
didn't
That's
die.
the demon she died of. She died of the demon called
Right.
mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I always say, like, I'm really skeptical. Like, I believe in a lot of shit, but I am skeptical of, like, everything. I don't believe in
Yes.
half the shit that we always fucking, like, see or we talk about. Like,
Well, because there's still stuff science hasn't even discovered. We're not even now. There's still more with mental health that needs to be discovered. You know, so it's like, who knows what the actual cause is? You know?
The other thing is, if there is, like, ghosts and stuff like that, it's and it wouldn't fall under science because we wouldn't know how to record it. Like, we
Right.
wouldn't know how to classify it as science.
No, you can't apply the scientific method to ghosts. There's no if-then variable B.
Right.
Like, it's just, it is what it is, and I think a lot of it, honestly, when it comes to ghosts, is belief in the energy you put in the world and in your space.
Yeah, I mean, if ghosts are mostly, like, if we're gonna say they exist and they're all energy-based, like, how do you, there's no way.
Like,
really
we'd have to
measure
find
that.
a way, we'd learn a way.
Yeah.
And we discover things all the time. We don't even know what's in the water. In the
Right.
ocean, in the water.
In
We
the
don't
water.
even know what's in the ocean.
Hey, we don't
Like,
know what's
we
in the
don't
water
even
either.
know something that we see every single day. We don't know what's at the bottom of the ocean. So, like, there's a lot of science we don't know yet. Maybe one day we'll find a way to know this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for now, it's fun to think about, fun to explore, especially like with we've all had experiences. Mine are far less severe than both of yours, but we've all had experiences. So it's like, you know,
I don't know, the creep in your bedroom kind of bothers me a little more.
yeah, that still bothers me, and it only happened once. So I still look for things in my house as I walk through in the middle of the night. Like, okay, no shadow people are popping up. Great, cool.
Like, man, if I turn this corner and there's a shadow person, I'm gonna throw hands real quick.
All the time.
I say that, but when there was the shadow person, all I did was walk through him. I didn't even remember.
I
I just walked through him. I
What
didn't
do
even
you
fucking
do?
fight him.
Like,
Yeah, you were just like, all right, fuck you. I'm still going to bed.
I was like, dude, I'm sleepy.
I mean, I had a little demon child, and I didn't fucking know what to do. I was just like, do you need help? I mean, I stuttered my fucking way through it. But I was like, do you need help?
There's no guidebook on how to deal with ghosts when you encounter them.
Please,
like, I
wake
turned
up
the corner like, oh, there's a guy standing in the middle of my hallway, but he's standing in front of my bedroom. I'm tired. And I just walk through it, close the door, and then start shivering like, oh god, that was scary.
I ran to my father's bed. I ran into my father's bedroom and was like, I'm gonna stay here for a little bit.
I think I got up, got dressed, and fucking left.
Instantly turned into a 6-year-old girl again. Oh god. Alright. Is there anything else you want to add to this episode before we close it up? Ghosts, man.
I'm out of topics.
Yeah, I mean, they might kill you if you're scared, but you're probably just schizophrenic if you need an exorcism.
Check the schizophrenia first.
Definitely get
And
treated.
then
Get
we'll
through
go
at
from
night,
there.
try not to have heart disease.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Try not to,
be treated by a modern medical professional.
stay away from haunted places if you have a known history of heart problems.
Yeah.
Consult a scientist.
Yeah. Maybe ghost hunters should get a medical check beforehand, just to make sure. All right, you're healthy. You're good.
And if you really, really need an exorcism, do it in a hospital.
Yeah. That's, you know what? That's an ideal place. Yeah.
Like, if I were possessed and I needed an exorcism, I'd be like, do it in the hospital. I need an IV in my arm, I need medication, but also, get the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like,
Put the heart monitor
sedate
on
me?
Yeah.
And then do it.
Oh yeah, that's genius. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna close this episode up. Thank you for joining us. We have no idea necessarily what we're gonna do for the next episode, but be there and you'll find out. Bye.
Bye.